where he says he changed his story. He says at first that there was no wreckage larger than what you could just pick up in your hand, and then he changes it to that there was cockpit wreckage and or the plane might have been vaporized, but he's saying that there.
And that only happened after Loose Change Second Edition had become immensely popular, that he had to address that. It was around the 5th anniversary of 9/11 when Loose Change just got too big to ignore, I guess. And yeah, he changed his story. It went from, well, there's nothing out there that you could see that a plane has hit the building. All you see are these little parts. And then all of a sudden, hey, I saw the cockpit, I saw the engines, I saw the wing debris. Totally made up.
So he said he saw the tail section and all sorts of stuff, but
no one's ever seen the tail section. If he saw the tail section, maybe he saw a hallucination, or he was out in the desert and he was just seeing things, because I've never seen the tail section. I've got every single picture that's available outside of the Pentagon. I've got pictures that haven't even been published. Those 15 or 20 pictures that people have seen of the lawn and everything else. Well, the guy who took those actually sent them to Dylan and I, and there's about 300 pictures ranging from that day into the day after, and I can assure you, sir, there are no pictures of any tail section. Continue.
So the question I ask is, did Jamie McIntyre, CNN photojournalist, sign a non-disclosure agreement with CNN? Because I can't find the pictures either, and nobody seems to be able to. So
here's what happened with Jamie McIntyre, and I appreciate the call. Jamie McIntyre is CNN's Pentagon correspondent. Now, when this gets too hot and he's not ready to disavow it yet, they come to him and they say, look, man, we really like you. We like what you do here. You're embedded in the Pentagon. You were here while the attacks happened. We want to continue to work with you, but we really need you to talk about seeing these plane parts. I mean, these kooks don't think a plane hit the Pentagon. Of course a plane hit the Pentagon, Jamie. Of course it did. We just need you to get up on TV and really talk about it. We'd hate for you to lose your access, or CNN to have to replace you as the Pentagon correspondent. You've been with us for so long. And like most, he did what they said. They go along to get along. He likes his cushy job. I'm sure he gets paid very, very well. I'm sure he has top-line benefits. I'm sure he likes being around the power structure. He feeds off that. He likes being in the Pentagon every day. He likes to be able to go to the daily briefings. He likes to think he's in the know. So him, I take people at their word when they're on the scene, when they're on camera, when they don't know what the official version's going to be. It's the same at Shanksville, Pennsylvania. They go up, they interview a guy, and they say, where's the plane? He's like, well, I haven't seen any parts of a plane. All you got is these small fires in this little debris field. And then the local reporters are saying, well, it's strewn out over 8 miles. And actually, there's some of it over a mountain ridge in New Baltimore. And then we go to New Baltimore over that mountain ridge, and residents say, yeah, there was debris falling. But then the debunkers come around and say, no, that debris went to Indian Lake. It's only 1.5 miles away. There's no mountain ridge. We don't know what you're talking about. We're going to come back. We're going to go to Seal, Pat, Jim, and more. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com. All right, folks, we are back. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. If you missed any of the first 2 hours, folks, you're going to have to go back. It is the debunking of the Nat Geo hit piece all the way through. Again, they only did 3 really lousy, insignificant experiments. No one ever said fire can't deform steel. That was never a claim of 9/11 truth. They took an I-beam and they put it in 2,000-degree temperatures. Yeah, of course it's going to bend. No one said otherwise. All right, let's continue to barrel through the calls. Seal in Canada. Seal, you're on the line.
Yeah, well, 3 quick points there, young Jason. First of all, God bless you young men, you InfoWarriors and 911 truthers, and don't be distracted by their timing of this National Geographic outlay, because we know that the anniversary is coming up before the weekend, and so in final, I'd like to say that we've got to take a proactive approach at looking at what's ahead of the curve. Let's get ahead of the curve, InfoWarriors. Let's look at what they're going to. Let's get ahead of this military-industrial CIA complex that Ike and JFK warned us so heavily about. God bless you, boys. God bless you.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. And, I am trying to get ahead of the curve. I'm trying to get a mass movement together down in New York City for the 10th anniversary, because really, even now, 9/11 is largely being ignored by the mainstream media. You're not seeing it all over the news, all over the regular networks like you did around the 5th and 6th anniversaries. It faded out during the 7th. They're still trying to keep it low-key during the 8th. They'll only resurrect it if there's another false flag attack in the United States or on the 10th anniversary when they can't ignore it. You see, we're brainwashed to think in 5, 10s, 20s, 25s. These are the anniversaries that we remember. These are the ones that matter. So hopefully on the 10th anniversary, the InfoWarriors are going to be loaded with ammunition, whether that be DVDs of Loose Change Final Cut or Fabled Enemies or something else that comes out in the near future. Maybe Invisible Empire becomes a big hit and shows the broader spectrum of what's going down, that we can take back 9/11. I truly believe that one day the truth, at least on some level, will be told, will be accepted, and hopefully, I hope to God, I pray to God, that some of the people involved in this attack do suffer the consequences, are brought to trial, are prosecuted, do have to serve their time in prison. That's what, I mean, these guys are mass murderers. This is real. A lot of people died that day. It hurts me to even, I can go back to the morning that it happened. I remember the feeling in my gut. Just, I felt sick to my stomach. I couldn't believe this was going down. And initially, in the weeks and months after 9/11, I didn't even want to hear about it. I said, man, this is all over the news. It's just feeding into my head. I don't even want to hear about it. Let's just move on. We got to move forward. I don't want to hear about this stuff. But boy, when I started to learn what really happened, I needed to know, because it made that feeling in my gut come back again 1,000-fold, where I felt sick. All right, let's jump to the next caller. Let's go to Pat in Ohio. Pat, you're on the line.
Hi, Jason. I got 3 questions. The first one is about the Pentagon. I know that a plane did not hit the Pentagon, but what do you think happened to the passengers like Barbara Holden and people like that? What actually?
Well, I think they're dead. It's a big mystery. What happens to these people on these planes? You go by the Northwoods document. In the 60s, they said, well, we'll fill these planes up with military personnel. We'll say they're college students. We'll land them safely at a location, and we'll have fake funerals for everybody. I don't necessarily think that's what happened here. I think that everybody on these things were collateral damage. They were accepted. Whether they flew those planes into the ocean or they gassed the passengers and actually used the planes in some type of other deal, who knows? I try not to speculate, but again, I have a hard time believing that Flight 77, piloted by Hani Hanyour, was able to make this incredible turn with all these G-forces, clip all these light poles, barrel into the Pentagon, have essentially large pieces of the wings disappear and the tail section disappear. So, I don't speculate on what happened to those people except for they're dead. I really, truly believe that everybody on those planes is dead. I don't think this is like a swordfish scenario where, John Travolta gets a new face at the end and he pretends he's dead. I think they're dead. What's the next question?
Okay, there's 2 more questions. Barry Jennings, Alex, I heard him in June, this past June, on June 12th. He mentioned Barry Jennings, but he also mentioned about somebody being in the witness protection program.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know that Barry Jennings was ever in the witness protection program. When I met him and I did that interview with him, he was quite concerned with his family, saying he had about 2 years till retirement, and he really, really needed to keep his job. Now, I think Barry Jennings is dead. From what I've been able to find out, he died of fast-acting leukemia. Is it super suspicious? You bet it is. But I can't go beyond that. I mean, he gave this, supposedly a retracting interview with the BBC, but the only thing he retracted on, he said everything that he said to me on camera, except for he said, I never said I was stepping over dead bodies. But if I play you the video, I didn't ask Barry Jennings, hey, are you stepping over dead bodies? Are there dead bodies in World Trade Center 7? He volunteered that information. I feel like that information was too hot to handle. Somebody said, hey, you can't be talking about this. So he went to the media, he went to the press. He didn't know that there would be repercussions after he gave this interview. And, was he murdered? I don't know that. Again, I know he died of fast-acting leukemia, and it is extremely suspicious. Third question, Pat.
Pat Tillman. Now, I know he died, and I was told that his unit, several people in his unit died a few days or a few weeks after he did. Where can I get this information?
He just type in, a few days later. I don't think it was necessarily a few days. I do remember one of the people, I think it was in Tillman's squad, was back in Los Angeles at a barbecue when somebody popped up and capped him and his friend. I would just type in, Tillman, suspicious murder. You're going to get a lot on the fratricide and the different investigations into his death. But then you can also type in Tillman's unit murdered, and you should be able to get some of the people that died during that investigation as well. I thank you for the call, Pat. I hope that was a big help. Let's jump to our next caller. Let's go to Jim in Florida. Jim, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason. There's a point about 9/11 that Tarpley always emphasizes in his book and other articles that I don't ever hear Alex mention. I have my own little theory about it. You probably will think it's silly, but it's about the Angel is Next threat to Air Force One.
Hold on.
When Bush was flying around.
Let me just stop you. Have you watched Fabled Enemies?
No, I haven't. I'm sorry.
You need to, because there's a huge section about it. It's not just about the Angel is Next comment. All right, let's go with Angel is Next. Okay. First of all, there were other targets that day. The Angel is Next just basically said, we have control, and the next target is supposed to be Air Force One. It was reported all over, and then it was recoiled. Okay.